5 levels of fitness. Has anyone here ever read the book 5 Levels of Leadership?
5 levels of what?
5 Levels of Leadership?
No.
Awesome, then it's going to sound like I made up all of this myself. So that works out. So what I want to work with you guys today is I want to give you guys a concrete way of tracking each core skill that you're going to be using, right? This is going to be great for GYFT, but the intent is not GYFT, right? It is everything after GYFT. It is life, right? I want to give you a way to track exactly where you are. And if you're not seeing the results you want to see, you should be able to break this open, look at these 4 to 5 skills and say, okay, well, I'm a level 4 here, I'm a level 4 here, but I'm a 1, a 2, and a 3. So if I bring those things I'm doing really poorly, if I bring those up, it's probably going to help us start seeing some results, right? So what we're doing here is just, like I said, splitting fitness into 4 categories. So training, which is going to be resistance training and cardio, recovery, nutrition, and supplementation. Okay, so I'm not going to read this word for word. That's why I gave you all your own copies. I want you guys to start using these on your own. And then I'm working with the rest of the trainers to integrate this into how you guys do your check-ins so that you can, like I said, start to understand, okay, I'm doing really well here, but I suck here, okay? So 5 levels. Level 1, you're showing up, right? So you're doing the basics. You're starting to show up to the gym. You're starting to track in the smallest possible way, right? You're taking some of your supplements, albeit intermittently, right? Level 2, you're trying. You're starting to put a little bit of intention into what you're doing, right? You're starting to be a little more dialed in. You're starting to pay attention to the details. All right, level 3, we're dialing in. Level 4, we're dedicated. And level 5, we're perfecting it, right? We're pretty squared away at that point, but we can always be better, okay? So, we've got 3 really basic rules. The first one, all tasks for a level must be completed and maintained for a minimum of 3 weeks, right? Because our job is to create habits, right? That's why I don't do half-hour sessions, right? Because I want to make sure I can teach when I have time with you guys, right? I can't teach you, help you adjust all your habits from the week and give you a good workout in 30 minutes or 25 minutes, right? So I make it a point that I care more about teaching you and helping to adjust your habits than I do necessarily what we do on the floor, right? Because I know whatever we do on the floor is going to be fine. That's 5%, right? So the habits and the teachings where I care a lot more about. Second rule, to maintain a level, you have to still be completing all the habits and skills from the previous level. The third one is less of a rule and just more of a note I wanted to put in there to start looking these over with your trainers, and I'm working with Mike to find a way to push these, basically push this as like a Google form into the app so that I can like push these to everyone on a bi-weekly basis so that we can kind of start to track our progress in these habits and these skills. Okay, so first category we're going to talk about is going to be training, right? So I've got it written in here with level 5 starting at the top, and that's because I want us to have an idea of what does it look like if I'm doing this perfectly? What does this look like if I'm doing all the pieces, right? So level 5 for training, right? It means we're completing all of our workouts every week, right? We're completing all of our planned cardio, all of our movements. We're doing our cardio appropriately, right? So we're not just on the machine for 30 minutes. We are on the machine in our heart rate at the appropriate intensity for the allotted time, right? We're constantly pushing our intensity every set. We're always trying to improve our weight and reps while maintaining form every single set. We're getting a minimum of 7,000 steps daily, and we're not using our phone except for like music and tracking our workouts while we're on the floor. Meaning we're being intentional, we're being in the moment, we're there to do work, right? Not hang out for 2 hours, right? And then complain that it wasn't a good workout. So at the end of the day, all of this, the point is to be more intentional, to figure out, like I said, I tried to strip this down into the most bare things I could think of, into the most like finite forms and steps and skills that are gonna make all of this work, right? So that's level 5. Now obviously, the way this is gonna work, if we're doing this and we're trying to actually improve at each of these pieces, each of these skills and these habits, is most everyone's probably gonna be a 1 or a 2 in almost all of these, right? And that's the reality, and that's fine. And that's, I need us to understand that it's not a bad thing, right? It just means, okay, I'm about here, right? Because we can't be anything, can't be a 4 if we're not doing every single thing under 4, all right? We can't be a 2 if we're not doing all of 1. It's all or nothing, it's everything, right? So it's about the details. So level 1 for training, we're performing any combination of cardio or resistance training at least 2 times a week, okay? So we're showing up, we're getting in the door. We're making a plan for what days we want to make it to the gym and adding it to our calendar, not just saying, oh, I need to work out this week. If I feel good after work, I'll go, right? You're never gonna wanna do more work after work. You need to make it an appointment. Make it, put it on the calendar, set an alarm, right? Not just if you feel like it, because we're never gonna want to do extra work, right? Track your workout and your cardio once you're completed. Right, this is a big one that I see people mess up. And what it turns into in the beginning, it's simple. It's, oh, I forgot to track it. I'm already a movement in, it's fine. I know what I'm doing. I've done this workout a couple times, right? Next time you come in, do the same thing. You're not tracking your weights, so you're throwing random weights on there and just kind of guessing, right? Third workout, you start swapping movements out. Fourth, right, and it just escalates or de-escalates, right? So it's be intentional, right? We can't manage something that we're not tracking. And it doesn't matter if that's our training, it doesn't matter if it's our nutrition, or supplementation, relationship, finances. If we're not tracking it, we can't manage it, right? It's guesswork, right? Which is fine if that's the kind of results you want, right? If you want, I just want to end up somewhere in here. We need to be intentional. We need to measure it. It needs to be measurable progress. And that's the point of all this, is that I'm going to give you a way to measure your progress in every single one of these skills, so you know that you're growing, you know that you're improving. Right? Beyond just the numbers on the scale, beyond just the tape measurements, right? There have to be more wins in this whole process than, hey, I dropped 2 pounds, or my body fat's down, or my BMI's down, or whatever it may be, right? There have to be more things for us to get excited about, or this is gonna be a very short journey, because we're gonna burn out, right? So, obviously I'm not going to read every single one of these all the way through, because we're gonna be here for a hot minute. What I mainly want us to understand is just more of the concept, right? So level 2 is going to be a step past level 1, right? It's perform any combination of cardio resistance 3 times a week instead of 2. 7,000 steps daily, at least 3 days a week, right? Perform 4 movements of your workout for resistance days and perform at least 50 minutes of cardio for cardio days. So it's okay. We started showing up. How do I take it a step further, right? Does anyone here know or have heard of parallel processing beyond my clients? Okay. So it's a concept that comes from coding and engineering for computers, and it's basically this idea of take something that works and add a step, add a layer to it, right? All right, that works, that's solid, cool, let's add another layer, right? Because we go too much too fast, something breaks and we don't know where it broke down, and now we got to start over, right? So I teach this way with my clients, and I try to teach this way with any of you guys that I interact with, and you guys ask for advice or help on anything. And basically, it's this idea that let's get really good at the most base level of something that we can do, the most basic level, and then let's go a step further. Let's take it a step further, all right? Get really good at that, let's take it a step further, right? And that's how this is engineered, this is how this concept works, right? I think it's the best way that we as humans learn is slow, steady, progressive overload, right? Whether that's for training or habits, okay? So when we learn to drive a car, right now, we do anything between 15 to 20 things at any given moment while we're driving, and we don't even think about it, right? We're changing the music, we're see text messages pop up, we're switching lanes, we're watching 4 different cars, we're watching the one off to our right? But we didn't learn that way. When we learned how to drive, it was, here's the key, this is how you turn it on. We got that down, said, okay, this is how you back it out of the driveway, right? Okay, now let's take it down a slow road all by ourselves, right? And then we just keep adding a layer, adding a layer, adding a layer. And there's no reason that any of this should be any different, right? Far too often when you guys come in, or anyone in general, right, comes in and says, hey, I've never done this before, I need to lose 100 pounds, right, whatever it may be, right? Trainer looks at him and says, awesome, you're gonna do 5 days of cardio at this heart rate, you're gonna train 5 days a week in this program you've never done, doing movements you've never done, you got a meal prep, oh, you don't even cook your own food, awesome, you're gonna meal prep, you're gonna do that 7 days a week, right? We just throw layer after layer of crap at you guys without actually showing you how to do it, right? So, I try to strip all that down to the most basic level. Someone comes in, they've never tracked food, they've never done any of this stuff. I'm like, awesome. I'm not going to say anything to you about macros. I'm not going to say anything to you about calories, right? I just want you to track your food for a week. Just show me what we're eating, right? We do that for 2 weeks. Awesome. Let's go a step further. I want you to try and hit your protein goal now, right? Because this basic piece has gotten easy, right? And we progressive overload habits. Is everyone tracking so far? Do you have any questions so far? Awesome. Okay. So, this is one that I don't even remember the last time I heard a client or a trainer talk about it, and it drives me crazy. Recovery. Recovery is almost the number one thing, right? I don't care how hard you can work out, if you haven't recovered from the last one, it's useless, right? Your workout is only as good as the recovery since the last one you did, right? So if we're not recovering, if our body is, right, we're trying to remodel this shabby old house, right? We're trying to give it a facelift, build it up, make it stronger, make it look nice, invite people over, infer from that what you will. So in the beginning, when we're here, we're just trying to tear it down. We're trying to destroy as much tissue as we can, right? That's it. You don't build muscle in the gym, you destroy it. And then the body takes that signal and says, okay, that was really hard. Let's allocate some of these resources to make that stronger, so next time we don't almost die, okay? That's it. The body works off one for one, really simple input, output, okay? So we have to destroy the body. We have to rip it down. I want to protect your joints, but I want to destroy as much muscle tissue as I can every time I get my hands on you, right? Because I want us to grow. So for us to get the most out of that every single time we do it, we need to make sure that we're actually recovering, right? If I have a demo team and I have a remodel team, and I let the demo team work 10 hours a day and the remodel team work 1 hour a day, then the house is going to improve at a very rate. No, right? It's just going to be a bunch of destroyed walls, right? So it needs to be one for one. We need to have just as good a recovery as we do really intense workouts, right? You can't have one without the other. All right, so level 5 recovery, and I'm sure this is where we'll probably get the most questions, and that's fine. Always perform your warm-up routine before every single lift, minimum of 5 minutes, right? Always stretch or foam roll primary muscles from the day's resistance training workout or cardio session at the completion of your training session. Right? Perform one of each, an Epsom salt bath hot or an ice bath for 30 minutes weekly. All right, so before I go any further, does anyone want to ask questions about Epsom salt baths or why I recommend hot baths and ice baths?
Yes.
Yeah, why?
What's the benefit of that?
So heat for the body is its favorite thing, right? Because it loosens things up. It allows things to expand, right? Ice does the opposite. This has nothing to do with what I'm teaching, but I'm gonna throw this in there because I hate having to correct this. If anyone hurts themselves in the gym, right? You sprain your ankle, something hurts, it starts to swell. Do not, for the love of God, ice it. Do not ice it, okay? The guy that created the Rice method came out in 2008 and said, stop doing this, we have new science, new technology, right? When you ice something, it constricts, it tightens, right? Inflammation is your body's first attempt at repairing something. It's trying to open up all those pathways as much as possible to get more blood, oxygen, resources in there to heal what was ever damaged, right? And that doesn't mean just injuries, that means damaged muscle tissue. So we want inflammation, okay? So hot Epsom salt baths are amazing because they are going to increase blood circulation, right? If blood circulation increases, that also means that resource allocation increases, right? Your body is going to get more of everything faster, which means it heals faster, it relaxes faster, it recuperates faster, okay? So that's why we do hot Epsom salt baths. Releases and relaxes muscle tension, right? On top of that, when we're destroying tissue out there, we're creating millions of little scar tissue, right? And the body uses collagen to create scar tissue, right? And so it cross stitches it to heal the muscle, right? And then once that is protected, new muscle tissue is generated underneath it to increase its volume, right? But then, let's say we do really hard chest workout twice a week, right? And you're gonna start noticing, what are bodybuilders known for? Having really bad range of motion, right? Just because they have so much muscle mass, but they also have an incredible amount of scar tissue built up on their body, right? And that's more the issue for loss of range of motion than massive muscle is, okay? So when we increase the body temperature, we increase blood flow, right? It allows that muscle to move more freely. And when it can move more freely, it can break those stitches, so to speak. It can pop those stitches and start letting the muscle fiber move and retract and contract and do everything it needs to do better. Does that make sense? Any questions about hot baths? Awesome. All right. So ice baths are the opposite. Right? Ice baths are not for your muscle tissue. Okay. Now, some people do use them, and that's fine if you just really enjoy them that much, right? But that is not the intended purpose of an ice bath. Ice bath is going to be nice for inflammation, but we want that inflammation, as we just learned. So the real purpose of it is going to be resetting your central nervous system. Okay. That is your body's physical communication line to everything. So when we reset that by cold shock, it allows your brain to communicate with your muscle better and start to create better connections, which means you connect better during your workouts, you get better lifts, and it helps reset your immune system and your CNS. Does that make sense? What?
How many, okay,
Yeah.
So what's like the max you suggest for next month? Is it for your same 30 minutes total over a week, like several?
One session. So that's something to work up to, right? In the beginning, yeah, you're not going to get more than 3 to 5 minutes for your average person. It's just going to be more than your body is acclimated to, and that's fine. So the point is, right, like none of us are level 5. None of one's starting at level 5. We're going to be a level 1, we're going to work our way up. So in the beginning, one of the best things you can do is just order a little $5 thermometer off Amazon and stick it on the inside of your tub if you have a tub. I picked up like a 70-gallon trash can, like Rubbermaid, and just filled up 2 to 3 bags of ice and then cold water. That way I can sit all the way inside of it. But use the thermometer so you have an idea of what you're actually dealing with. I keep a little journal or a notepad and I log my temperatures and my times so that I have an idea of what I'm doing and I'm not just winging it. Because if I don't realize how much colder it is, then one week I'm like, man, I did 20 minutes, it was awesome. And then next week I accidentally add more or less than normal and I'm like, man, I only lasted like 10 minutes.
So what's your ideal temperature that you want to try?
In the beginning, don't even worry about that. Just put cold water in the beginning and just get comfortable with that. When that starts to get easy, add the ice, add 1 bag of ice, right? And use the temperatures less as a goal and more of an idea for you so that you can progressively overload it. I don't want there to be necessarily a goal temperature for any of you, because just because I can deal with it doesn't mean I want you to go jumping into 40-degree water. Yep, no, don't even worry about it. Just focus on progressively overloading it over time and tracking what you are using. And the same for the Epsom salt bath. Use a thermometer so that you can see if the temperature starts to drop. So if you need to be in there for 20 minutes and you see it starts to drop pretty rapidly, refill the water, right? Re-add hot water. But
So when you do the hot Epsom salt bath,
no, so it's just one or the other. And I have my clients that are operating at a very high level or under a large amount of stress for their body. I have them alternating it week to week. So they do hot one week, cold the next.
oh, okay. That's something they should talk to the trainer about, like before they even start.
Not really a lot of risk. Just be mindful of how you go about it, right? Like I said, don't throw 10 bags of ice in there and just jump in there on the first try. It's going to be awful. Yeah.
Is there any benefit to doing like some little short ice bath with it, or would you hold on like big?
So it's about what do you want to get out of it, like anything, right? It's what is your goal? So some people will do lots of tiny ones, like 3 to 5 minutes on a daily basis, just because it wakes them up a ton in the morning because it creates an adrenaline rush, right? So it wakes your entire body up, dopamine. Other people are doing it for muscle recovery. Other people are doing it for, the way I approach it is for central nervous system. Never do it directly after a workout unless you want it to stop your muscle growth. Right? It will negatively affect how much muscle you can develop because you're going to stop that healing process in the middle, right? And you're not going to allow it to move forward. So never do it after a workout if you don't want to lose muscle. I tell everyone do it on a rest day. Do it on a day you're already not going to go work out or do anything. I like doing it first thing in the morning because, like I said, it's going to give you a ton of energy. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter too much. Just focus on developing the habit and doing it and not so much hyper acute details in the beginning. Yeah. Any questions, guys? Awesome. Okay, so now we're going to jump to the back side of it and go to level 1 for recovery. So level 1 for recovery, we're showing up, right? So it's at least 5 hours of sleep nightly is our absolute minimum. Oh, I didn't even finish that one, did I? I think I stopped at the ice bath. Sorry about that. 8 hours of sleep nightly. This is probably the biggest one, honestly. The amount of clients I have that get 4 to 5 hours of sleep is insane, right? If you want to get the most out of this, that needs to be the very first thing you address is if you have crap sleep, whether quality or amount of time, you need to address it. You need to work on it. If you need help with that, stay after, talk to me, right? We'll come up with a plan. But that has to be number 1. No excuses. No adjustments otherwise, right? We need to be focused on trying to improve our sleep. It's kind of like the analogy I use for the demo team and the remodel team, right? You're not allowing that remodel team to work, right? So everyone, it's a pretty easy connection to make. If I don't sleep a lot today, I'm tired tomorrow, right? But we don't necessarily understand the why to why we are so tired. And sometimes it's not even that you're tired. It's like mentally you're awake, but your body is very lethargic. And what's happening is, right, while we're sleeping, our body is trying to regenerate all of our hormones, so our HGH, our estrogen, our testosterone, so on and so forth, right? It's also trying to repair and rebuild all of the damage from today, from yesterday, from the day before, so on and so forth, right? So that night crew is trying to work, trying to get things done. So if you only sleep for 4 hours, you only sleep for 5, whatever it may be, and then you wake up and you find, like, even if you're mentally very awake, but you're very lethargic and your body's dragging behind, it's because now the day shift and the night shift are trying to work at the exact same time in the same space, and nothing's getting done efficiently, right? So our body's resources are just being spread extremely thin. And then on top of that, our immune system is going to drop. And the easiest way I can describe the way our immune system works is, think of it like it is the remodel team, and it is also your body's security force, right? But it has X amount of bodies. It has X amount of resources available, so it can do one or the other, which is why lifting and destroying the body naturally lowers your immune system, right? Because now your body has to take some of those resources and say, okay, stop defending, go repair, right? So now, on top of that, beat the crap out of ourselves, we're also not getting sleep, and then we're trying to carry on with our day, right? That immune system's coming down even further to try and help with other things, right? So we start getting spread very, very thin, and everything starts to fall apart at that level, right? So sleep needs to be our number one thing that we start to address in the beginning if we want to get the most out of this and make sure that this is something that we're able to sustain for long periods of time. Okay. Any questions? Awesome. All right, take prescribed rest time between sets. The amount of clients I see just superset everything, right? I always get questions in the very beginning why I make my clients rest 90 seconds between every set in the beginning. Imagine I'm trying to train you guys to run a marathon, or even just run a mile, right? You run the first one and you do it in 17 minutes, right? Say, awesome, that's not the time we want minimum 12 minutes, right? So I don't let you rest, I say, run it again, right? This time it's 18 minutes, run it again, right? Is this gonna keep getting better or worse? Worse, right? We have to give the body time to repair and rejuvenate and kind of catch its breath, right? So that we can put our best foot forward and be hyper intentional every single set, right? I want you guys to start thinking about your gym time, whether it's cardio or resistance training, as if every single person on earth only gets 1 hour a day in the gym. So you all get the same time. Who's gonna do the most with it, right? I want you to get the most out of your time here. I want every set to serve you. I want every movement to serve you. I want everything we do to serve us, right? That's the whole point, right? So if you only get an hour a day in the gym, everyone's given the exact same amount of resources. I want to get 3 times as much as everybody else, right? I want to make it work for you, right? So we need to make sure that I can push like it's a 1 rep max on every single set, because I'm going to get more out of it than the person next to me, right? Which means I love this, but I don't want to be here all day. You shouldn't have to be here for an hour and a half, 2 hours for a workout, right? Now, if you're doing cardio and stretching and all these other pieces, your total time may be about 2 hours, and that's fine, right? But your workout should not take that long, right? And obviously part of that comes from things like being on our phone in between sets and realizing our 60-second rest turned into 3.5 minutes, right? So being intentional. Static stretch targeting muscles from your workout in between sets. I can go into the nitty-gritty on this, but I won't today. But this is not only gonna allow the muscle to work better during the set, but it's also going to drastically increase your body's ability to create more hypertrophy, right? Which is volume growth in the muscle, okay? And then the last bit, perform a 10 to 15 minute routine of massage guns, stretching, or foam rolling before bed nightly, right? So when we don't move, right, we sit. Everyone that works from home and sits in front of a computer knows this, right? You don't move for a long period of time, you get up, everything's really tight, everything's really stiff. So if we're gonna rest and we're gonna sleep for 5 to 8 hours, I wanna make sure our body can recover and get as much done in that time as possible, so I'm gonna set it up for success, right? So I'm gonna break down that scar tissue. I'm gonna loosen that muscle up so that more resources can get to where it needs to go, so that my repair, my healing goes faster than the next person's, right? Because I wanna be the best. I want to get the most out of my time no matter what I'm doing, right? So I'm gonna set my body up for success. And really simple pieces like this, like having a routine before bed, are gonna fix more of your problems than you realize, right? The amount of people that, you know, they come in and they're like, Chris, man, I just can't sleep, man. But then I ask them, you know, hey, lay out your day for me. Like, tell me, what do you do 4 hours before you go to bed, right? And most of them are on their phone. Most of them are watching TV. Most of them are drinking or doing this, that, and the other. And they've got so much going on. right up to the point that they're trying to go to sleep, right? And then the very next day, it's either just as awful or something completely different, and their timings are way off, right? So the first thing we need to do if we want to create a better habit of sleep is we need to create a better habit before sleep, right? We need to make sure that we're consistently going to bed at the same time. We need to make sure that we're consistently setting our body up for success by helping it cool down, helping it relax, getting rid of blue light. Does everyone here understand why blue light affects our brains the way it does? No? Okay. So basically just from human history, the body acknowledges blue light as sunlight because sunlight is blue, right? The rays, right? And the body acknowledges that as the sun coming up. And so it stops any form of melatonin production, it stops any form of hormones that help our body relax, and it starts upping our heart rate and basically trying to wake us up, right? So primary form of light waves that come out of electronics is blue light. So when you're sitting watching TV all the way up to the point of going to bed, you're playing with your phone in bed, right? Your body is not producing melatonin. That's why you can't sleep, right? Because your body won't wind down, right? So we need to start getting rid of that blue light at least like an hour up into bed, okay? You start with 15 minutes before bed, put your phone away, right? That gets easy. Try to make it 20 minutes, 30 minutes, right? Get rid of all the electronics, right? We also have all these different things going on. We're reading, we're scrolling, right? The reason social media works as well as it does and makes people as much money as it does is because our brain loves quick dopamine releases, right? That's why we can't focus on anything for longer than 30 fucking seconds, right? Because Instagram has trained us to look at 30-second reels and swipe. TikTok has trained us to look at 15-second reels and swipe, right? And so if we don't get an immediate dopamine, what do? Swipe, 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 swipe. I like that. And then we go right back to it, right? The brain can't relax, it can't turn off, right? It's chemistry. They've trained us to do this. And we've said, okay, right? So these are some of the pieces we need to start understanding and dealing with if we want to make sure that we're actually improving in all these places. So I'm not going to allow my clients to come to me and complain about not seeing progress if they're not putting their best foot forward on every single step of this, right? The ball's in your court. I'm going to give you all the resources to succeed. I'm going to act as your GPS, your Wikipedia, all that, right? Your PT, right? But you have to make sure you're doing the parts at home, right? So don't go and complain to your trainer about not seeing progress if we're not putting our best foot forward on all these pieces. And that's why I want to put this together so that you guys have a way to say, okay, what am I doing well? What am I sucking at? And how can I improve that, right? How can I measure my success so that I can consistently improve and get more out of this? Because I want you guys to get more out of this program, get more out of your training, get more out of your time by yourself, right? I can't speak for every trainer, right? But my goal, and I tell every person this before I sell them training, is my job is to sell myself, right, out of a job. My job is to train myself out of a job, to train you to not need me, right? So that means that every time I touch your food, you need to say, okay, I know why you did that. Every time I change your calories, every time I change your program, every time I say do this instead of this, I need my client to be able to say, I understand why you did that. That makes sense, right? Because eventually, I'm not going to have to tell them. They're going to make the adjustments. They're going to succeed. We're going to hit goal. And then they're going to tell me to fuck off and stop giving me their money because I've trained them so well, they don't need me anymore, which means they also don't need anyone else, right? And that's my goal for every single one of you, right? But part of it is you guys need to know enough to ask more questions. And sometimes as trainers, we don't do a very good job of that, and we just assume you know all the stuff we know, right? That's not how it works. You wouldn't be here if you did. Right? So you don't know what you don't know, and that's fine. But now I'm giving you guys the resources to start being a little more introspective and saying, okay, where do I need improvement? Okay. All right, TED Talk over here. All right, so now we're moving on from recovery down to the first step, which is, like I said, 5 hours of sleep. Stretch the primary muscle of the day's workout before you work out. Stretch the primary muscle of the day after lifting, and perform a 10-minute routine. Okay. All right. So after that, we have nutrition. Everyone's favorite. All right. This is probably the one everyone does super well, and no one needs help with, right? Yeah. Awesome. Very lively crowd. I like this. All right. So 5 levels of nutrition. So level 5, we're doing everything right. We're hitting every day's calories every week. We're hitting all of our macro goals. We're not exceeding free meals. You'll notice I didn't call those cheat meals. Very intentional. We're going to hit our sodium, sugar, and fiber every day. We're going to hit our water intake goals every day. All meals except for 1 snack daily or whole food, and no more than 1 prepackaged meal per week with no missed meals. All right. So I imagine everyone's level 5 for nutrition, so we probably don't need to dive into this one, right? Beautiful. I love it. Awesome. Okay, so just looking at that one, does anyone have any questions or ideas or thoughts or want to ask anything specifically related to any of that? No. What's up?
On the clean water flows.
Yeah. What? I'm sorry.
Water flows.
Like how much water should we be drinking?
This is clean water flows.
Yep. So like whatever you and your trainer have talked about like what your specific water intake needs to be, I could give you a number, but you're not gonna like it. Mine is 220 ounces a day. Yeah. So I carry around a 30-ounce bottle, and I just make sure that it's gone after every client. So I do about 10 of these a day sometimes. Just depends. So I'm not going to give you a number just because it's going to be different for you. So I want you to work with your trainer, ask your trainer, and say, okay, this is about how many I am doing. What's a good goal for me, right? If you're on average drinking 4 of these a day, start shooting for 5. Do that for a week. Do that for 2 weeks. And say, okay, I'm going to shoot for 6. All right. If you need help with water intake, I just make every single client set alarms on their phone to go off. Have them set alarms for their meals, for the ones that hyperfixate at work and forget to eat, and same thing for their water. And the trick is, right, the only way this works is if you follow the rules and you don't dismiss that alarm until you've done it. Right? You can snooze it, but do not dismiss it. Right? Let it keep coming back up every 5 minutes until you have a moment to go get some food and you go get some water. Right? How'd it go? All right. We had some more questions, Lisa.
Oh, I can ask one.
Huh?
So I know you said this is like a 3-week period. So if you do mess up on 1 week, do you start all the way over, or do you?
Like for the level, or like starting your 3-week period.
3-week period, yeah.
If it's one mistake, no, right? Part of it is communicating it with your coach, being consistent, right? Because everyone comes in and asks for accountability, but then you know what you fuckers do? You lie. You hide shit. Right? Yeah. So everyone comes in and everyone's like, oh, I need more accountability. And I'm like, awesome. Tell me what you ate. And they're like, no. Right? So.
I never lie.
Yeah. So no, if you make one mistake in regards to, let's say you have one more prepackaged meal than you were supposed to, right? If it happened once, right, and that's it, awesome. I think we're still doing pretty damn good, right? If we're going from nothing to, we did that in 3 weeks, awesome, that's great, right? Communicate it with your coach, right? And if you had, you failed one of them 5 times, yeah, we're probably going to start over, right? Let's start building this 3 weeks up again, this habit, because we clearly didn't establish it. And it's less about let's start over and more about, okay, let's do it another week.
Okay.
Let's add a week, let's add 2 weeks instead of a full another 3. Does that make sense to everyone? So if we trip up, we make mistakes, it's fine, just communicate it, right? Because you want us to hold you accountable, but if we don't know everything, we can't do that, right? The amount of clients I've had come in and, man, we do that in-body scan and they're like, I just don't get it, Chris. I'm doing everything perfect. I'm like, really? Really? It's like men lie, women lie, and everything in between, numbers don't lie, right? So if we are going up in weight, guess what? We're not in the deficit we thought we were. And if we're going down, vice versa, right? If you're staying the same, you're eating the same as you're burning, right? But,
You're talking about prepackaged meals, you're just talking like processed food and stuff right now. So like if you buy like the factory meal or you got this, that are like supposed to be nutritionally rich and stuff.
nope, that's still frozen to me.
That's still.
Yeah.
They come fresh or not?
Huh? Well, oh, okay. Do you have the
They're
mic?
eaten within 5 days.
Okay, awesome. Well, I'll allow it. Do we have any other questions, guys? I feel like a couple have popped up on this. Cool, that works. All right, let's see. All right, so we're gonna go to level 1 of nutrition. How am I doing on time? So track at least 3 days of eating, good and bad, right? Hit your water intake for 2 days that week. Drink 1 protein shake a day. Eat more whole food versus processed food daily, at least 2 days weekly, right? That's the big one. In the beginning, like I said, I don't have people worried about numbers and macros and calories and all this stuff. I just want to keep it as simple as I can, and I just want you to If you're eating 10 processed meals a day, I want you to cut that back to 9. Let's start there. Let's get one solid home-cooked whole food in you, all right? Let's keep trying to change that ratio, right? Until we're having whole food for every meal for the most part, right? So it's just progressive overload. It's doing one thing, doing it well, and then adding a really small step that we're not going to trip over, right? Does anyone have any questions about the nutrition aspect? So really quick guys, just anytime I'm doing seminars, anytime I'm doing classes, please don't think you have to ask questions specifically pertaining to this. This is great, but if it makes you think of anything else, please ask, right? I want you guys to use every second, every minute you guys get with us and pick our brains for as much as you can. Right? Go ahead.
What would you suggest that poor people shop to eat whole foods?
I'm sorry?
If we're poor, we can't afford to eat that kind of stuff. Where do you suggest I shop?
Okay, so I don't know
Really
what
poor.
our
Really
definition
poor.
of poor is
Really, really
at the
poor.
moment, right? So I'm a single income household.
Me too.
So for groceries, the way, I'm not even going to say I do it, the way Kelsey does this, because I'm honest, is one, we meal prep for everything, like at home. So that obviously helps because we're not getting
You're not over-buying.
Oreos, not all these single serving kind of snacks and stuff get cut out. So the first trip she makes, she tries to get whatever in bulk she can at Costco. From there, she goes to like Winco and Fred Meyer for meat and bread specifically, because it's really cheap at Winco. And it gets put out pretty much daily, and we can't find Dave's Bagels anywhere else. And then from there, she'll go to Fred Meyer's, that's cheaper. And then from that point, if she absolutely has to, she'll go to like Walmart. But we don't touch Safeway, first off. And the amount of clients, I've seen their grocery bills because of fucking Safeway. Don't go to Safeway.
I'm going to say
Yeah, grocery outlet. Yeah, absolutely. So that's another good one, guys, is if you have one around you, obviously we do, grocery outlet, go there first and see what bits and pieces you can scrap together there. Bare minimum, your produce and some of your meats, you should be able to get there. Not a lot, obviously, but bare minimum produce and some dairy stuff. So start your shopping there and then go, right? It's just, the more money you want to save, the more footwork you have to do, obviously. And that's just kind of the truth for any aspect of saving money. So that's what we do. And the big thing is just our meals and stuff at home, we plan them out on a weekly basis. So I'm not, we're not cooking a different dinner every single day of the week, which creates leftovers and waste. The meal plan I give my clients is the same meal plan I use, and I just modify it on occasion, but my breakfast stays the same. My lunch when I'm here at work stays the same. My dinner, I have like a baseline meal for dinner that I can do. That's just very efficient, very cost effective. But then obviously if I want to go grab some steaks and do steaks, I can, right? But basically I have a baseline for each of my meals that keeps the cost extremely low, but if we decide we want to do something else, we can pop that in as needed. Does that make sense? What?
So I've always been told that Whole Foods is drink the whole milk, the whole yogurt, do not do the low fat because it's all full of those crappy chemicals. But I noticed on your plans that come from here say low fat.
Yeah.
I love
So you got to remember, like that's kind of where, like that's the whole piece with like supplements and food and stuff is like, we're not going to get all of our nutrition through food. No matter what your calories are, you will not do it, right? It takes almost 30,000 calories a day. It's physically impossible. So when we get that concern out of our heads, then we're already moving in the right direction, right? Because that conversation tends to come up with people that I don't want to say elitist or gatekeeping, but they tend to ride a very specific high horse about their lifestyle, their eating, this and that and the other, and it gives them a platform to be above someone, okay? The only thing you need to concern yourself with is what is your goal and what is your capacity. What can you do, right? So if you can't afford to eat every single thing from a local, organic, non-GMO, gluten-free, vegan-friendly, wherever the fuck, right? Then go to Walmart, go to Safeway, go to wherever, right? Get what you can get inside your capacity. The biggest issue with the gym is that everyone gets so concerned with looking to their left and looking to their right and worrying about what everyone else is thinking about, right? The best thing about the gym is everyone in here is here for themselves. No one gives a shit what anyone else is doing, right? I promise you. I'm not going to see you eat, wow, imported bananas, really, right? Garbage, right? No one cares, no one, right? So then we just have to say, okay, what do I need, right? I need whatever nutrients I can get. Supplements are your backup. They are your safety net so that you can eat within your means, and then the supplements will pick up the slack. Does that make sense? Okay, so yes, anytime we can get organic, anytime we can get whole food, meaning the whole milk, the whole yogurt, no, that's just old school bullshit. Get whatever works for your goals, your calories, your nutrition, right? And keeps you living within your means, right? You're gonna be fine. That's why the supplements are there as that safety net to cover everything your food isn't. And we already know our food is not gonna get us everything we need. So that's fine, right? Does that make sense? Awesome. And like I said, if you guys have any thoughts, any concerns, any questions, whether it's pertaining to directly what I'm speaking about or if it makes you think of something, just ask. All right, guys, last one is going to be 5 levels of subs. All right, so level 5, right, we're doing everything perfect. We're dialing everything in. We are taking all supplements related to our vitamins and minerals, our joint health, our gut health, our organ function, our immune system health, our performance, and we're taking them every day of the week. All right, this one's pretty bare bones, it's pretty black and white, right? We're taking our nutrients to supplement our diet, right? Especially if we're losing weight, right? We can't afford to get all of our nutrition through food because we're trying to eat less. So the original intent behind the design of supplements was to get the nutrition without the calories, right? And that's what it's there for. So to supplement your diet, not to take place of, not to become a crutch, right? That's why if you look at the nutrition piece, I don't tell you, hey, I want you to take 4 protein shakes a day, right? I want you to have as much whole food. Whole food meaning, right, it is a meal, it is solid food, it's not a shake, it's not a smoothie, it's not, right? I want it to be whole food whenever we can manage, right? I want you to drink as little of your calories as possible because how many people go on a diet, go on a cut, and say, oh, I'm just so hungry all the time. Then you drink a fucking protein shake 5 days a week or 5 times a day, right? You need more whole food, you need that fiber, you need those calories, right? Because that's gonna sit on your stomach longer. Whole food is gonna digest at a different rate than what a shake is, right? Shakes are great, but they should not be a crutch, they should be a tool, right? They should be there to supplement your calories, supplement your nutrition, right? So I tell all my clients, no matter what their goal is, everyone uses Way Smooth because it's the lowest calories, the highest protein, so they can use that to top off their protein for the day if they find they're a little behind without it throwing off everything else, right? So that's why I have every single client use that because I want them to develop habits that are cooking, preparing their meals, thinking ahead, not, ah shit, I forgot lunch, so I'll just do a shake. Every single day, multiple times a day, right? That's not me helping you. That's me giving you other crutches to use and then not get to your goal. My job is to help you develop better habits, to teach you, right? And I'm not gonna do that by giving you everything and not letting you think something, right? So, supplements, like I said, pretty black and white. Does anyone have any questions?
Okay, I bought the all-in-one.
Okay.
The new shake, it replaces 5 supplements, okay? I bought it, but I still have supplements, but can I do the all-in-one on a weekend and then just go back to having my supplements during the week instead of the all-in-one? Or is that gonna mess things up because I
It's
don't
fine.
want it to
You're
go
just
back?
getting the nutrition in different ways, right? That's all we're doing. So that's
Okay.
fine. Yeah, don't waste anything, right? Use up what you have, it's perfectly fine. You're not gonna throw anything off or have any weird interaction.
Okay, good.
Yeah. Sarah.
So for the supplements, do you guys have anything that is safe for pregnant?
Yes. Anything with, so her question was, do we offer anything that is safe for someone to take that is pregnant? Right. So, because I get this question all the time, I want to strip this back a little bit. What are supplements, right? Base level, what are supplements? Nutrition is vitamins, minerals, right? In just a form that gets rid of calories, right? So yes, all of them are good to go. The only thing I don't recommend for pregnant women are anything with stimulants. So like beta-alanine, creatine's fine. Your body makes creatine naturally. Okay, go ahead.
So I read on the back, it says for aminos, do not take if you're pregnant. Muscle defender, do not take if you're pregnant.
Yep.
And creatine, not about the monohydrate, but the extreme.
Extreme, yep, because of the beta-alanine.
So I'm kind of like stuck.
Yeah. So obviously, so her question was about basically the performance supplements. So aminos, creatine, muscle defender. Was that it? Creatine, muscle defender.
And aminos.
Yeah. What's the front desk on? You want to run out there for just a second and ask why the front desk is calling me? So I don't know if they need something or.
Yeah.
So aminos, the ones we offer, right, are not BCAAs, which are branched chain amino acids. They are already in every single protein source you consume. That's why we don't sell them, right? The aminos that we offer are the essential, right? It's some name we gave them is what they're called. So 9 aminos that your body cannot formulate on its own. It has to get through hyper-specific sources. So aminos, I can't even begin to imagine a reason that you wouldn't want them or you couldn't take them if you were pregnant, but I can add that to my list and I'll go find you studies on it. And I can show you some stuff if you want, and I'll help you look into that. Creatine, yeah, you definitely don't want the beta-alanine. So when you take creatine, beta-alanine, or you take pre-workout and you feel this tingling sensation you get, so that is your blood vessels and your capillaries opening up and expanding so that you can get more blood and oxygen into the muscle tissue, right? It's kind of used as a pump product. So to allow the muscle to stretch beyond its typical capacity while you're working out. One, it's going to allow you to move more weight because now that muscle is getting more resources than it can normally accommodate. Okay. And then on top of that, it's because we're taking something that usually stretches this far and we're stretching it this far, it's going to create micro tears all over the muscle, which is great for hypertrophy and muscle development. Yeah, any kind of stimulant, don't want that going through. Muscle defender is glutamine, magnesium, and L-leucine. Once again, can't really think of a reason why that'd be a problem, but I'll look into the aminos and the muscle defender.
So my trainer reached out aminos too. So he said it's because it's unethical to try.
It's what?
Unethical to try it on pregnant women because they never tested it on pregnant
Gotcha.
women.
Okay.
So
Yeah. So that makes sense. So like I said, glutamine, leucine, and L-leucine, magnesium are things the body needs. Glutamine and leucine are going to be used as basically enzymes to stop the signals that tell the brain, hey, we haven't had any protein, go cannibalize muscle tissue for that nutrients. And it's going to stop that interaction for as long as it can. So if we go too long without protein, the body will cannibalize tissue for that nutrients, right? Glutamine and leucine kind of jump in there and help stop that process for as long as possible so that we're losing less muscle tissue. So I have all my clients take it after a workout and before bed, because if you're sleeping for 8 hours, you're also fasting for 8 hours. So the same thing will take place while you sleep, and it helps stop that catabolic process. Okay. Any other questions, guys? All right, well, that's what I've got for you guys. So like I said, if you guys have any questions that don't necessarily pertain to this, or just anything in general, feel free to ask. But the way I want you guys to try and use this, right? I want you to, you can do it today, you can do it with your trainer, you can do it alone, but I want you to sit down, go through each category, start at number 1, and the way that this is actually gonna serve you is you need to be able to check off everything under 1. If you can honestly look at all those and say, you know what? I do my workouts twice a week. I make a plan for my days and I add them to my calendar. I track my workouts and my cardio, and I'm getting 7,000 steps at least 2 days a week, right? Mark them all off. All right, now you need to start working on number 2's list, right? When you have all of those completed, and your trainer's like, yeah, you're doing all of these consistently. Awesome, now you're level 3, right? And you should be trying to progress through each of these skills, each of these habits. And like I mentioned in the beginning, if you're someone who feels like you haven't been seeing a lot of progress recently, or haven't been kind of getting that momentum, sit down with your trainer and have an honest conversation about where you are in each of these categories. And if there's 1 or 2 that's lagging disproportionately behind the others, right? Your 3 nutrition, 3 at training, but your supplements and your recovery are a 2 or a 1, right? You probably need to put some attention on those and fix those. And when we do, I promise you're going to start seeing results. So everything's going to start coming up to speed. You're going to become more aware of your habits, your skills, and what you're doing and what you're not doing. Right? And you're also going to be a lot more introspective and intentional about your time here and what you're getting out of it, right? So hopefully, if you guys need more of these, just let me know, and I'll get more copies made, and I'll just keep them at the trainer desk. But like I said, I'm trying to find a way to integrate them with the app so that I can push these to my clients like on a bi-weekly basis so that we can see if we're actively improving or growing, right? So yeah, hopefully this is helpful for you guys, not just for the sake of getting the most out of the 60-day gift challenge, but just longevity in general, sustainability, and forward progression for you guys. So hopefully this is useful. If you guys have any questions, feel free to hang out after up at another 30 minutes before I have clients. And I'd love to answer questions, help you guys however I can. That's it. Thank you guys for coming. I have the sign-up sheet